coach Dick Nolan of the New Orleans Saints, former coach of the year in 1970 when it led the San Francisco 49ers to the playoffs.
Also a great player with the Giants. I remember one time I was playing against him. He rung my bell real good.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but of course you're much younger, both of you. Look. 3rd and 4. Split left is Baschnagel, right is Scott. Big play for both teams here. Phipps sideliner, almost picked off by Clarence Chapman. Very similar play as Manning's that was intercepted by Walderscheid. Not so much the similar route, but the same area and that same ever-present danger of taking it all away.
And that was touchdown USA if he hangs onto the ball. He comes right in there and, Scott kind of reached his hand out there and kind of grabbed him, but that was a big break for the Chicago Bears because he was long gone, because the only man who could have stopped him possibly would have been Phipps.
So it is 4th down, and the Saints force the Bears into a field goal try from the 24-yard line. Bob Thomas, he says it's good, and so do the officials. 34-yard field goal for Thomas, his second of the afternoon, and with 1:52 to go first half, the Bears have opened their lead, 16-3, make it 13-3.
This is the oil that saves you gas, but it does more. It can take you
from New York to London to Paris
to Sweden
to Tokyo
to Hollywood
and back to New York.
25,000 miles without an oil change. Mobil 1, the oil that saves you gas and more.
You know me. If you're on the move in business, use me, your public phone, as your branch office. And you'll find I'm even easier to use with this, the Bell credit card. It's as fast to use as giving the operator your card number. You even get a monthly record of your calls. Okay. To apply for it, call your Bell business office. Use the Bell credit card and use me.
Well, it was only a 3-point field goal for Bob Thomas. I gave him 6 there for a moment. Let's see it again. Thomas is the first guy to know it's good. Watch him here. See the hands go up? Is that his holder?
That's Brian Baschnagel.
Yeah.
He's the official on that play. And here's Bob Thomas, who's become the most accurate field goal kicker in the history of the Chicago Bears.
So Thomas kicking it off. The deep man is Motti. Takes it at the 2 and drops it. Motti hit at the 12 and pulled down at the 14. And the Bears have had excellent kickoff coverage. Motti has not been able to get past the 20 so far. And this time with the little jostling of the ball, he got only to the 13 or 14-yard line before he was swarmed under. Wentworth Gaines made the hit.
And look at this one. The Colts lead Pittsburgh 7-6 in the second period.
Baltimore is going to be a very good football team this season if Burt Jones stays healthy. He is back. So we have a timeout on the field with a first down for the Saints. We'll be back at Soldier Field in a moment.
Hold it. Hey, guys. All right, stop fooling around. Calm down. Hold it down. I mean, this is the first Light Bay alumni picture, okay? A little respect. All right, everybody here?
Everybody who is somebody.
Oh, very clever. All right, smile, will you?
Knock it off, Billy. You need this job.
Are you guys ready? Hold it. Hold it. Stay like that. Hold it. Now. Just be yourselves. Calm down. Calm down. Hold it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I loved this house. It was like an orphan when we adopted it. Now it's adopted us. 11 months ago, my husband died suddenly. It was an awful shock, but it would have been so much worse if we'd had to move. Thank goodness we bought mortgage life insurance from Nationwide when we insured our home.
Mortgage life insurance. It's part of Nationwide's blanket protection for your family.
Nationwide is on your side. Next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, Hilmer Kenty defends his WBA lightweight title against ex-champion Ernesto Espana. You'll say you saw it on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris back here at Soldier Field. There is the picture with 1:45 to go first half. Baltimore went ahead of Pittsburgh on an intercepted pass. Sanders Shiver intercepting Bradshaw and taking it 34 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. The Colts haven't done anything offensively thus far. First down New Orleans here in Chicago in their own zone, trying to get something here before halftime, but he is sacked. Dan Hampton was the man to tackle him. Hartenstein had the initial pressure, and Alan Page and Archie Manning slow to get up.
He doesn't get sacked too often. He only got sacked once last week. You're going to see Mike Hartenstein come by James Taylor here, gets the first hit, and then comes Hampton, and they really crunch him right in the middle. Archie Manning is down.
The Toyota Celica Super is life in the fast lane that's almost beyond belief. But the Super is not the only way to join the fast crowd. There's a now classic sporty Celica GT Coupe and the GT Liftback. And for those who would like a sporty Celica for a little less money, there's the ST, the lowest price Celica. To find out which one's for you, drive a Celica. Then just trust your feelings. A Celica selection.
When Europeans get together with friends, they serve their wine in a carafe. Thanks to Paul Masson, we can enjoy this same tradition. Paul Masson's convenient carafe, sealed fresh at the winery to capture each wine's delicious flavor, whether it's Paul Masson's delicate, crisp Chablis, rich, mellow Burgundy, or delightful Rosé. The Paul Masson carafe. The time has come for this great way to serve a great wine.
Tuesday, the Dukes of Hazzard star in a special 2-hour TV movie presentation, Carnival of Thrills. The action never quits. Be there Tuesday at 8/7 Central and Mount.
Archie Manning going to the sideline with assistance. Got hit in the face. Looks like right on the nose, and I think that was from Alan Page landing on top of him after Hampton and really rocked him in the midsection. Guy Benjamin is in at quarterback, and on the first play, the Bears stack up Chuck Muncie, Hartenstein, and Hampton as the offensive line broke down completely on the play for New Orleans. And it's another loss. Remember, with the sack yardage, they were 2nd and 17 back at their own 8. And now the ball is spotted at the 4-yard line of New Orleans. 1:23 to go. Guy Benjamin, you're saying? Yes. He was acquired in a trade just before the season began from the Miami Dolphins for a draft choice, the former Stanford All-American. In his 3rd year as a pro in the NFL, has not had much playing time with Miami and none thus far with the New Orleans Saints, but pressed into service and now going over to talk things over with Dick Nolan on the sideline. The timeout on the field called by the Bears. 13-3. The score, 1:23 left to play. The Bears, I think, can smell some more points here with 3rd and long, Johnny, and they took the timeout to try and get themselves another shot at the ball.
What do you tell the young quarterback 3rd and 20 back on your own 4-yard line? They're going to give him a play, but this will also affect the strategy of the game. I'm sure Dick Nolan will send in more plays with Benjamin than he would with Archie Manning.
Another factor here, of course, the reason for Guy Benjamin was the injury to Bobby Scott, who's on injured reserve with a knee injury, the experienced backup to Archie Manning, who's had a fair amount of play over the years, but he's on injured reserve, and thus they made the deal for Guy Benjamin. And some people think that he could turn out to be the quarterback of the future. Manning, of course, at 31's got a lot of time left in this league, but Benjamin, a highly regarded young quarterback. The word on Manning is that he was popped on the nose and it's sore, it's bleeding, but he plans to come back. So it is 3rd and 20. Benjamin out of the end zone, completes his first pass. On the coverage was Plank. It was caught by the tight end Larry Hardy, and Benjamin showed a little courage in the end zone, threw that strike perfectly.
The Bears did not put a blitz on him because they had 20 yards to go in a first down. So here goes Benjamin back. He's in the end zone. He waits for Hardy to come down and out. Doug Plank on the coverage. The pass was right on the button, and Plank knocked him out of bounds, but the Saints are still going to have to punt.
Yes, they got about 10 on the play. And it is 4th down. Now let's see if the Bears are coming here. Erxleben in the end zone, and the rush was on. He got it away. Pretty good kick. Taken at the Bears 48 by Walterscheid. Gets into New Orleans territory where Brooks Williams, number 88, made the hit on him. And Walterscheid got to the 44 of New Orleans with 1:08 still on the clock. So Chicago smells another scoring opportunity with 1st down at the 44-yard line of New Orleans. A 40-yard kick by Erxleben out of the end zone. Not a bad effort. Buffalo now in front of the Jets 20-3 in the 4th period. Wide right goes Baschnagel. Wide left goes Scott. Bears lead it by 10, 13-3. Time winding down first half. Phipps has time. It's blocked neatly. Good defensive play by number 72, Mike Fultz, who batted that pass down.
They were trying to hit Payton over the middle as he circled out of the backfield. And here comes Fultz right up the middle. And the pass really didn't have a real high trajectory because he just barely jumped off the ground and knocked it down. You saw Payton was open.
2nd and 10, Chicago. 1:04 on the clock. Philadelphia leading Minnesota 21-7. Eagles a good football team. Draw play, Payton. Payton on his own got away from Grooms and picked up about 6 yards. Well, they're going to give him 5. Clock running, 3rd and 5 in the hurry-up offense. 48 seconds to play. First half. Phipps. Incomplete, and that could have been picked off. Williams, the intended receiver, did not hold on. On the coverage was Ray Brown, the safety number 27. Nearly had a surprise gift in his hands. That stops the clock.
He was so intent on doing his job, which was making the tackle, that the ball just came off of Williams and hit him right in the hit Ray Brown. He could have had a touchdown, but that's football. As you see, Bob Parsons coming on the field. The way they rushed that other play, it seems kind of funny. Parsons has been known to throw.
Yeah, I'm wondering about this call a little bit here. 4th down, you got to think maybe something's up, but they lead by 10. Maybe they're electing to play it safe. There's nobody back for the Saints, so maybe they don't believe he's going to kick it.
He has an option to kick or throw.
And he's kicked it angled out of bounds at the 12-yard line, and there are 36 seconds on the clock. So New Orleans will get last gasp attempt here before the end of the half. What do you think, Johnny?
Well, I think the Bears rushed their 3rd down play an awful lot. They still had a timeout left, and it seems like they could have taken their time a little bit, but they rushed that 3rd down, and now then punted, and New Orleans has got the ball.
Yeah, I'd have to say that's going to be up for the second guesser's grabs after this football game, but the Bears lead it by 10, and New Orleans with 36 seconds left will try and start here from the 13 with Benjamin continuing at quarterback. We do expect from latest reports that Manning will be back in the second half. They've got 3 wide receivers all on the left side. This could be your basic Hail Mary here, but they throw it up the middle, and it is incomplete. Intended for the wide receiver Chandler. Coverage on him by Terry Schmidt, and Chandler a little slow to get up, but it looks like he's all right.
As you can see, the wide receivers at the top of your screen, they headed downfield like the old Hail Mary pass, as you said, but Chandler came across the field, and if he could have caught it in stride, he would have had a shot at it, but did not hang on to the ball, and Schmidt gave him a shot, and it looks like he has maybe got hit in the ribs a little bit.
Pretty good coverage nonetheless by Schmidt. I don't think he was going to get too far. He was on the play there. They weren't going to be able to break him, but we have 30 seconds remaining. 2nd and 10 for the Saints. Motion Wilson. Draw play to Galbraith. Galbraith is hit by by Muckenstern, the other 58 out there. If he was hit by his own man, the whole team would be in trouble. 18 seconds left in this first half.
Larry Hardy was wide open on this play going across the middle, but it was the screen middle, which sometimes can really break for you, as Galbraith got the ball, broke one tackle, but there were too many linebackers reacting to the play, and that's the most you get. We have a report that Archie Manning has a broken nose. Here is the fake. Then comes Page, the screen middle, nice catch one-handed, and then he dekes away from Tom Hicks, but too many linebackers come up as Muckensturm is in on the tackle.
18 seconds remaining, third down, and about 7 to go for the first down.
I'll say one thing, they're not running the clock out and saying, let's wait till the second half and regroup. They're trying to get something.
Detroit ahead of Green Bay now, 13-7. Billy Sims, brilliant rookie, has scored from a yard out. 32 seconds left in the half to send the Lions back in front. They're coming off a big win over Los Angeles a week ago. So Guy Benjamin, at least for the moment, has the destiny of the Saints today in his hands. Would a broken nose keep Archie Manning out of the second half? Who knows? They've got 3 wide receivers lined up on the left side again. Let's see if they all run straight down the field. They brought Chandler into the middle last time. Sideline intended for Chandler, and Schmidt on the coverage again breaks it up. Clock stopped with 11 seconds remaining and fourth down coming up, but the Saints are going to elect to punt from deep in their own zone, playing it safe here as they trail by 10. Ertzleben will come in, standing at his 1-yard line. Danny Walterscheid is the deep man. Walterscheid waiting for it at the 41-yard line. Chicago Bears. Good kick by Ertzleben. Fair catch, Walterscheid at the 41 of the Bears with 4 seconds remaining. There's Russell Ertzleben. Things going a little better for him today than last week.
Well, I'm sure the Bears are going to, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure. I figure they're going to run the clock out since they're ahead 13-3 rather than risk some kind of a sack and a fumble or something like that.
Well, they do have 3 wide receivers in.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go.
Haynes, Scott, and Bashnagel.
They're squadron right or squadron left play, maybe. There they are, Chris Haynes, Brian Bashnagel, and James Scott. And they're going to throw it down and hope for the basket catch. New Orleans has been involved in a few of those games.
Phipps gets a rush and gets away from it.
There it goes.
Deep to the traffic. Who's got it? Incomplete. Nobody got it. Quite a pile-up down there, but nobody came up with the football. But the crowd, I think, appreciated that. Little romance there to end the half. And the Bears, more importantly for their fans, are leaving the field with a 10-point margin. Thomas with a pair of field goals from 37 and 34 yards out. And the big play of the half, Phipps' 56-yard pass play to the rookie tight end Robert Fisher, the 12th round pick from SMU, took it at the sideline and went down the sideline for the score to make it 10-3 at that point. Thomas's second field goal opening up the 10-point margin. The only points for the Saints, Russell Ertzleben's 27-yard field goal back in the first period, and the vaunted New Orleans offense has had trouble against the Bears defense. The Bears have been able to stop them when they've got down into scoring territory, Johnny, and they did give up only the one field goal and took the ball away from them on the other try. Now, I guess the big question is, will Manning return? If you had a busted beak, would you be out there in the second half?
Well, I think in this game of professional football, you can play with a busted beak. They may try and get him some kind of another helmet with maybe another bar across over the nose to give him some protection. But I know in hockey and a lot of other sports, you bust your nose, you just forget about it and go back and play. So in football.
All right, well, there is Archie Manning, and we'll be waiting to see whether he comes back or not at the end of the first half. The Bears 13, the Saints 3, and let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, welcome back to our control room in New York. Let's get you up to date with all of the scores around the league. This game now in the third and the... It's the second one from 10 yards out. Atlanta and New England 31-21. The Falcons over the Patriots, and of course they were underdogs. Meanwhile, Buffalo routing the Jets 23. The game is blown wide open. Jeff Nixon has just scored on a 50-yard pass interception for Buffalo in that game. Many of you watching this contest 16-7 as Eddie Murray, the kicking sensation, hits one with time running out of the first half. Pittsburgh has just gone ahead on a 10-yard scoring pass. Bradshaw to Franco Harris. 13-7 Steelers over the Colts in that one. 17-7 Zorn to Sam McCullum from 12 yards. Then Zorn 7 yards to Sherman Smith, and they lead Kansas City. Meanwhile, Chicago is ahead of New Orleans, 13-3 at the half. Archie Manning suffered a broken nose in the first half, and Guy Benjamin finished up. Just a short time ago, I had a chance to talk to Jack Youngblood of the Los Angeles Rams. On the live hookup from Southern California, I asked him about the Rams' problems. They're 0-2 right now.
I think those problems are over now. We're back here to play football. There's a certain point in time where you have to separate economics and the actual playing.
What is your contract status? Are they going to renegotiate?
Well, let me say this. I didn't take a vacation for 15 years, so I really just wanted to go fishing. And we have an understanding with management, all the holdouts do, and management has their position, and right now we're there to play football to the best of our ability.
Now, Jack, management seemed to be a little bit flexible at halftime Thursday night about the quarterback's contract. Vince Ferragamo indicating that, yes, they would certainly reconsider that. I believe the estimate is $52,000, which is not a great salary for someone who led a team to the Super Bowl. Let's be honest about it. There are other players on the team being paid more than you. You did a heck of a job for them last year. Can you forget the contract hassles? You have just said it. Easier said than done sometimes with money, isn't it?
Well, Brett, you have to realize that economics and actual playing have to be separated at certain points in time. And I think that I've done that, and I think the other players have too, that, you know, on Sundays that the economics of football are put out of your mind, and you go out there to try to win and try to play the best you can. If you're thinking about the money, you're gonna probably get your, rear end knocked off.
Philadelphia and Minnesota. The Eagles, of course, think they have a chance in the NFC's Eastern Division. Wilbert Montgomery has turned it loose for a 72-yard score. There's Harris on his first of two. Now we watch Wilbert Montgomery. And Irv Cross, isn't he the key man in the Eagles' attack?
No question about it. Wilbert possesses sprinter speed, as you can see here. This run, 72 yards, have to excuse my cold here, is the longest run of the year so far.
Now, Tommy Kramer rallied the Vikes from the shotgun. Went to Ahmad Rashad for the Vikes touchdown in this sequence. But then a short time later, in Bloomington, Minnesota, it was all Eagles. You're watching now the Falcons and the Saints. And here's Atlanta's Wallace Francis getting in for a touchdown against New England in Foxborough, Minnesota. And here's a man, Irv, that you really like, Junior Miller, their rookie tight end for the Falcons.
Big, strong guy out of Nebraska, has tremendous speed. He stands about 6'3 and a half, 6'4 or so, about 225.
This is Grogan to Stanley Morgan now from the 26-yard line, made it 28-21, and it was a controversy. Irv, what about this call? Both feet in bounds here?
Both feet. Well, it doesn't matter. At this point, the defensive back pushes him out of bounds. That's why it's a catch.
Soldier Field in Chicago. Phipps on the throw to Robert Fisher, and Fisher turns it loose upfield against the Saints, and it was 10-3, Bears over the Saints. Now it was Archie Manning before he suffered the broken nose, and Walter Scheid stepped up and stopped that scoring drive, and it has been the Bear defense which suddenly has come alive. Here's number 99, Danny Hampton, in on him, and right now, of course, the Bears are ahead 13-3 at the half. 28-7, Montgomery has just scored a second time for the Eagles. And now from New York, let's send you back to the stadiums and the games you're watching.
The Chicago Bears lead the New Orleans Saints 13-3 at halftime. We'll return to Soldier Field in a moment.
Governor Reagan's plans for creating jobs are really necessary. But what's he going to do to get government regulations off our back?
It's time we put a stop to government's overregulation of small businesses. Red tape is driving some people out of business. I pledge to help small businesses and to free them from government interference. Tax incentives will give small business firms more cash to invest, leading to greater productivity, higher profits, and the creation of more jobs.
The time is now for Reagan. The world's most advanced twin-blade razors are only as careful, gotcha, as you are. The Norelco rechargeable rotary razor has 36 surgical steel blades, carefully protected by 3 floating heads, and a unique shaving angle for a very close shave wherever you are, without a nick or a cut. The choice is yours. The close, careful Norelco rechargeable rotary razor, or 2 blades and gotcha.
Some people buy a sports car to take off, and some to show off. But at Honda, we made a sports car for grown-ups. Introducing the Honda Prelude. With front-wheel drive and advanced 4-wheel independent suspension, it's one of our most nimble Hondas. And it's full of those wonderful innovations you've come to expect from us. The Honda Prelude, a sports car for grown-ups.
Honda, we make it simple.
Monday night on CBS, somebody's up to foul play. Chevy Chase is the crack detective. Goldie Hawn is the damsel in distress.
A man tried to kill me here tonight.
You like to take a shower? Dudley Moore is the conductor, who's always on the make.
What's the matter, baby?
They're all tied up in the wildest murder case ever, Foul Play. It's a crash course in suspense. Foul Play, Monday night at 8, 7 Central and Mountain, followed by a special showing of MASH.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris at Soldier Field, and a little bit different than what people expected today so far, Johnny.
13-3 in favor of the Bears. They have opened up a little bit. Mike Phipps was 6 of 15 for 106 yards in the first half, but the big one, of course, was that one to Fisher for 56 yards and a touchdown. Archie Manning has to be the big question mark. He was 6 of 9 for 76 yards in the first half with 1 interception. He has a broken nose, and I'm sure they're working with him now in the locker room trying to devise something so that he can go in and play. As long as his breathing is not impaired, it's not a hot day, which would maybe have an effect on that. We just can't tell. All kinds of broken noses. Some are broken in different ways, but it's broke. There's no question about that. Chuck Muncie was 11 carries for 66 yards in the first half.
All right, most of that on those 3 drop plays, which they ran so effectively. Well, we'll be back here shortly. Stay tuned as the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station.
Catherine Ross is the woman with a chance to become a champion in a desperate gamble that could cost her everything she loves. Rodeo Girl, the CBS Wednesday night movie at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
This is CBS.
Johnny, the last time that the Saints played here in 1977, it was a 42-24 game. We talked about their explosive offense, and they've only got 3 points on the board so far, and Manning a question mark as we've been talking about. Give us your prediction for the second half. What do you expect?
Well, I expect Archie Manning to be back. I think that will be a key to the Saints' success for the second half. And of course, as I mentioned before, Dick Nolan has got to be a little bit concerned. The Bears really ate up the ball on him, and even when Manning was in there, except for early in the game, they really didn't have that many sustained drives. So if they keep the ball out of the hands of New Orleans Saints, when you're coming from 10 points behind, you are in trouble. The Saints did stop Walter Payton. He was 9 carries for 30. That's doing a pretty good job. I think any coach would take that.
Well, they had, you mentioned the time consumption by the Bears. They used up more than 8 minutes on that last drive, and as you say, you keep the ball out of the hands of Manning. That's the way to beat the Saints, but don't know whether you can continue to do that. We've got a half of football remaining, and the big question mark continues to be Archie Manning. The Saints, on the other hand, have not been able to get any kind of a pass rush, and that certainly hurt them too.
Yes, no pass rush, and so that's the situation, and we're going to be back in just a moment with the Bears leading the Saints 13-3.
All right.
Got a long day's work behind me. That's it, let's take them all. Good times on my mind, and a setting sun to remind me I'm going back to a place called Miller Time. If you've got the time.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
We've got the beer.
America's quality beer since 1855.
Miller tastes too good to hurry through.
Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax,
Here, Phil, let me help you up there. There you go. Hi, I'm Tommy Myers of the New Orleans Saints. My friend Phil and I are here on a riverboat cruise with other big brothers and sisters in New Orleans. They're a great bunch of people. They take time out of their busy lives to try and bring a little love into the lives of some very special boys and girls. I know what it's like to need a big brother. When I was younger, I lost my dad to cancer. Then a man named Andy Marciano came into my life. He was there when I needed him, to bawl me out when I needed it, to lend a word of encouragement when I needed it, a word of love. Andy's gone now, but I'll never forget what he did for me. And I don't think these kids will soon forget what their friends have done for them either. Thanks to people like these, the United Way works here. And thanks to you, it works for all of us, right? The United Way.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Ford Motor Company, bringing you a new generation of small, fuel-efficient cars that arrive this fall. Today's Army, join the people who've joined the Army. And by Prestone 2 Antifreeze. It has a silicone silicate formula to lock out rust and corrosion.
Tim Ryan and Johnny Morris back here. It looks like we're in San Francisco or Glasgow or somewhere. There is a very fine mist, and it's starting to be felt by the audience in attendance here at Soldier Field. It's getting a little damp out here. Here is the big play of the first half. Circled is number 85, the rookie tight end, Robert Fisher, the only big scoring play of the half.
And you notice he got off the line of scrimmage without being jammed by anybody, went down the field and headed for the sidelines. Mike Phipps had plenty of time to pass, hit him on the button, and the key was the high tackle here by Ray Brown. He just shook it loose, and 240 pounds went down the sidelines, and no one could catch him. Tommy Myers tried. Too late. Touchdown.
So the Bears, with a pair of field goals from Bob Thomas, hold a 13-3 lead. Archie Manning is ready to go. He has been on the sideline, indeed is still there on the far side, warming up with Guy Benjamin and Chuck Muncie. And as Johnny Morris thought they probably would do, they have fitted him with a birdcage mask, the kind that extends not just around in a bar from ear to ear, but also from the middle of the forehead down to that bar, and thus giving him protection for what has been reported as a broken nose. So Manning will be back in action, but the Bears will have the ball first as the Saints will kick it off. Russell Ertzleben, the deep man for Chicago, is Dave Williams, standing right at the goal line, number 22. The Bears to our right, and it's a squib kickoff, spinning and out of bounds at the 21-yard line. A flag down. Did the ball go out before the Bears touched it? That is the question, and evidently it did.
Which means that the Saints will kick again and move the ball back 5 yards.
Well, Ertzleben, I guess on orders, not kicking that ball deep. Perhaps hoping for something good to happen with a difficult ball to handle.
He is using a 2-inch tee. Last week apparently used a 3-inch, and when you use a 3-inch tee, you can get the ball up higher so you can get down on your coverage, whereas if you use the 2-inch tee, you get more distance. There's the bird cage that Archie Manning will wear. This can be a little bit distracting. I'll go into that in a moment.
All right, here's the second kickoff from Ertzleben. Steps into this one, and it's a good kick down to the 13-yard line. Williams has running room. Williams over the 40 to the 41. Finally forced out by the kicker, Ertzleben. And so the Bears get good field position to start this second half, and they lead it by 10. A 27-yard return by Dave Williams. And the Bears have Payton and Williams to start off the second half, and there is Archie Manning, who is evidently ready to come in when the Saints get the ball. Baseball, go ahead.
Excuse me, Tim. Sometimes when you haven't been using that kind of a mask and you have one that comes down vertically in front of you, it takes a while to get adjusted to having that iron in front of your face, so he'll have to adjust it.
We'll work in the ball scores as we go along here. First down, Bears at their own 41. Phipps, number 15, the quarterback. Incomplete for Payton, who had 3 tries at getting that ball into the fingers and couldn't squeeze it. 2nd and 10. Fettersfield, the linebacker, on the coverage, and they have circled Payton out there several times in that pattern. Last week he caught 4 passes against Green Bay.
The Bears over the past couple of years have been reluctant to do that with Walter Payton because the only time he's ever been hurt is going out for those little passes where he has to stretch up and go for a ball and somebody can get a real good free shot at him. But they're disdaining that fear now and throwing Walter out in the pass patterns.
Well, it's got to be a temptation to try to get the ball to him when he's in full flight. 2nd and 10. Up the middle, intended for the tight end. Fisher, incomplete. Thrown behind him, and he just simply cannot pull it in. So it's 3rd and 10, and the Bears really chucking the ball in this game, although they did go into a ball control offense late in the 2nd quarter, which paid off. It used up more than 8 minutes.
Am I correct that didn't the Bears open the game with 3 straight passes?
Yes,
now they're
did.
opening the second half with probably 3 straight passes, a 3rd and 10 situation. They could run a draw or something like that.
Matt Suhey is in, number 26, the Penn State rookie, number 2 pick. Williams is out. Split left is Haynes, number 83. To the right is Baschnagel, number 84. Phipps up the middle again, incomplete. Intercepted, flag down. The pass intended for Suhey into the hands of the linebacker Dave Washington, the extra linebacker, number 55, on the deflection. But apparently, interference is called against New Orleans.
Reggie Mathis, I think, hit Matt Suhey just a touch too soon, a fraction too soon before the ball was there, and that's what the penalty is going to be, I believe.
Defensive pass interference, number 56, first down.
Mathis, the guilty party indeed. Tough break for the Saints. They had an interception off the play. Here's another look.
There's the contact right there before the ball arrived. Good call.
So first down, Chicago at their own 45. Opening drive, second half. Payton shifts off the wing to the pro set. Play action. Pass is deflected. And it was Don Reese, the oncoming pass rusher, who got the hand on it. Twice now, the Saints have knocked the ball down. So while they haven't gotten to Phipps, they've been able to slow up this Bears pass attack.
And it looked like he was going for Payton again out here in the flat.
Suhey comes out. Williams comes in with the play. Ricky Watts has yet to appear in this football game. A bone bruise suffered last week, apparently still bothering him. Bears like to bring the plays into Phipps for the wide receivers, but they've been using tight ends and running backs so far today. Payton, Grooms has him. Got maybe a yard before Elo Grooms tied him up, the 6-year man from Tennessee Tech. Interesting stats on the Phipps passing game. He was 5 for 8 in the first quarter, including that touchdown throw. 1 for 9 after that. As the Saints have done a good job. As I say, they haven't had a sack, but they've been making it difficult for him. Well, the wide receiver core of both teams has been hampered somewhat with injuries. Watts for the Bears. Now James Scott has a hamstring strain, and we're waiting to see if he gets back in. The Saints are without Tinker Owens, their reserve wide receiver, who's out with a mild case of pneumonia. That's intended for Cobb, the tight end, overthrown. Ray Brown on the coverage, number 27. And there is Mike Cobb, number 87 from Michigan State. So the Bears will have to punt, and you'd have to say some very good coverage despite the interference call. Good coverage by New Orleans.
Yes, good coverage downfield, and I noticed the pass rush is starting to get a little bit closer to Mike Phipps. It's almost like a gradual added pressure by the Saints defensive line. Eventually they're going to get in there and get that sack.
Philadelphia has moved in front of Minnesota 35-7.
Right.
Parsons' punt is short. Motti on the run at the 25, gets all the way to the 38 of New Orleans, and it was Matt Suhey who pulled him down, but a good return for Rich Motti on the short kick from Parsons into the wind. New Orleans with good field position when we return.
We're going to have to try a new gauge so we can.
This is what it takes to build tomorrow's small cars.
I want to make sure that
Experience, technology, skill, and the incredible world of Ford.
Well,
letzte Berechnung, Herr Dahm, hatte ja gezeigt, dass wir nicht zu eng schneiden. Ja.
What if we had a flange?
Okay, that'll strengthen the fender connection line.
This is the Mission Control Center of Ford's incredible world of technology in Dearborn, Michigan. New ideas for the use of high-strength steel, a power-efficient engine, a new suspension system are all right here. Building a new generation of small cars with world-class technology right here in America.
If you could see tomorrow.
Tomorrow arrives October 3rd with the new Mercury Lynx and Ford Escort, competing with anything in their class from anywhere in the world.
Tuesday night, it's the all-new Linda Carter special Encore. Merle Haggard and Tom Jones join Wonder Woman Linda for a dazzling hour of singing and dancing Tuesday night.
Tim Ryan with Johnny Morris, 13:29 remaining third period. New Orleans first down after a 28-yard punt by Parsons. A 12-yard return by Rich Motti, and Archie Manning is out there with the birdcage face mask to protect a broken nose suffered late in the first half. Harris in motion. Play action, good fake. Manning deep sideline, the coverage is there. Almost intercepted by Ellis. Intended for Wes Chandler, number 89. The pass a little underthrown, and the Bears had good deep coverage on the play.
I think it may have been underthrown on purpose. As we watch Manning go back, now he's got a long way to throw, all the way back across the field. He throws it short, hoping that his receiver Chandler will come back into it, because a lot of times the receiver will spot it first, and it was short, and Ellis almost had an interception.
Boston leads the Yankees 1-0 in the fourth inning. That game now underway. Toronto is in front of Baltimore 2-1 in the top of the eighth inning. The National League pennant race scores in a moment. Second and 10, New Orleans. Lots of action along that line, but no offsides yet. Long count by Manning. Manning under pressure and complete to Harris. What a good catch with tough coverage on him from Allen Ellis again. And Harris got the first down to the Bears 49.
Great. I think he checked off this time. He saw the fake of the blitz, and he ran outside of the rush, and he had to throw off-balance sidearm, and he threw a nice pass to Harris, who took the hit and got the first down. Archie Manning is okay.
National League pennant race scores. Philadelphia in front of St. Louis 7-0. The Phils in the top of the fourth. The Dodgers lead Cincinnati 3-1 in the bottom of the fourth inning. We'll try to keep you up to date on the ball scores that are important in the pennant races. First down, Saints on the move in Bears territory. Galbraith off tackle left. Behind Zanders and Taylor got a couple. Stacked up by Muckensturm, Alan Page. Call it a gain of 2, 2nd and 8 for the New Orleans Saints. They have only 3 points on the scoreboard. There are Manning's stats that they have produced, but the field goal by Russell Erxleben. In the fourth quarter, Atlanta leading New England 37-21. Not exactly a defensive struggle there. Manning sideline complete to Harris, who plucks that out of the air with a fingertip grab. Fensick on the coverage. First down, New Orleans to the 35.
Let's take a look at the Bears' defensive alignment on this particular play. You can see Ellis up at the top of your screen. You see Plank going back for the deep coverage, and there is Schmidt on a one-on-one with the short man in front. But the pass was really nicely thrown to the outside, and Ike Harris showed good hands there. That was what you call a hand catch, and those sometimes are the most difficult. He had to reach way out in front of his body.
Manning is 8 for 12 and 101 yards. The Saints are driving again.
Oh,
Muncie, big hole up the middle, first down. Fensick pulled him down, along with Gary Campbell. And up the middle, not on the draw this time, just a quick opener, but again, Muncie's been successful inside.
And he followed Galbraith right up the middle, and both of them could have run, but Galbraith peeled off and knocked Hicks out of the way. And then, finally, number 59, Gary Campbell, in on the tackle, along with Gary Fensick.
Muncie now has 79 yards rushing for the Saints. First down, New Orleans driving. But the 24 of Chicago. Out of the eye that give to Galbraith the lead back. Got only a couple. The Bears shut it down. Page with an ankle tackle. Muckensturm got the rest of them. Pickup of 2, 2nd and 8.
Chicago Bear defense was 6th in the NFL last year, and they have really changed their tune for this game. The Bears blitz all the time, all kinds of safety blitzes, linebackers. They have done very little of that, and that shows the respect they have for Archie Manning. They know that he has the abilities to pick those things up and take advantage of the weaknesses.
2 linebackers out, 2 defensive backs in, 2nd and long. Bears read pass and they get it. Complete, however, to Galbraith out of the backfield, short of the first down, but he's moved it to the 15. It'll bring up 3rd and 2. Doug Plank on the tackle against Galbraith.
Boy, he was a workhorse last week, wasn't he?
Sure was.
9 passes, boy, that's a lot of balls in one day.
Carried the ball 9 times for 30 yards, rushing as well. There's that score we gave you moments ago, and that is a scoring festival.
Look at that.
Philadelphia hammering the Vikings. The Bears crowd loves the sound of that score. The Vikings in their Central Division. 3rd and actually about 3. Big play here. Both teams. Saints have been driving. Pitch to Muncie, dropped the ball, and Manning recovers. And it is going to be no gain on the play. You know what interests me about that, Johnny? I'd like your opinion. Appeared to me from our angle, the ball was thrown forward, even though it was a lateral pass, a little shovel pass. It looked like it was thrown forward. Should this be an incomplete pass?
Yes, now look at there. Galbraith would have had big yards.
Watch.
There. Well, it was parallel, but if it had been forward, it would have been a pass.
Looked like it was slightly forward from our angle, but anyway, the officials didn't see it that way. It was a fumble, recovered by Manning. 4th down. Field goal try. Erxleben, no good. From the 25, it was a 35-yard try, but a flag was down, I believe, on the play. Yes, flag down.
It's against the Saints.
Bears will decline, and Russell Erxleben has missed from the 35-yard try. And the Saints, after another good drive, come up empty. And that has been the pattern in this football game as the Bears continue to lead 13-3.
John Burns joined the Army in March and kept us waiting until October. Kathy Wolf joined the Army in May and kept us waiting all summer. If you're a high school graduate or about to be, you can join the Army now and take up to 12 months to report for duty. That way, if you qualify, we can guarantee you the skill training that makes you happiest. And we think a happy soldier is worth waiting for. This is the Army, a chance to serve your country as you serve yourself. Call this number toll-free.
Using this surgical fiber optic camera lens, Prestone Labs is going to show you what weak, neglected antifreeze can do to your radiator after only 9,000 miles. Look at these passages. Rust, corrosion. Continued neglect could clog them and overheat this radiator. Before this happens to you, put in Prestone 2. Prestone has a patented silicone silicate formula that forms a tough protective barrier to lock out rust and corrosion. Prestone 2 and Prestone Super Flush. No wonder we're #1.
Next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, Hilmer Kenty defends his WBA lightweight title against ex-champion Ernesto Espana. You'll say you saw it on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
We're back at Chicago Soldier Field. Here's that field goal try by Erxleben.
And he is just wide to the right, so problems continue for the young kicker. And I wonder what a guy like Garo Yepremian says right now.
Well, Garo was pretty forthright the other night, saying he was a little unhappy that he got cut by New Orleans. But he got a shot in Tampa Bay. Slot formation left on 1st down following the missed field goal try. The Bears have the ball. Walter Payton has some room. Walter Payton, Clarence Chapman the only chance to stop him. And he does. Clarence Chapman made an outstanding play where Payton had 6. Daschnagel tried to get in front of Chapman to block him, but Chapman fought him off and got a hand on Payton. Big run by Payton, 61 yards.
Let's watch it off the I formation, up the middle. good blocking by the Bear interior line there. Everybody blocked well. And then Peyton turned it on here, but this is the one area where sometimes somebody can catch him. Once he gets out there, you have to remember that a running back a lot of times expends a lot of energy to get through a hole, and when he's run down, it doesn't mean that he's that much slower than another back, but a good save by Chapman.
First down, Chicago at the 19 of New Orleans. So the Saints, who failed on the field goal, get stung on the big play. But they've wrapped up Matsui for a loss. Short of the line of scrimmage, he'll lose about a yard, maybe two. Fetterspiel and Don Reese with a good defensive work here.
Here's good angle of it. Noah Jackson throws an excellent block. Reeve Sori came across. Michael Cobb sealed out Grooms, and then Peyton took off for the races. It appeared that he was going to have a touchdown, but those cornerbacks for New Orleans are very, very fast.
Loss of nearly 3 against Matsui. Second and close to 13. Bashnagel right. Chris Haynes left. James Scott has not been back in for the Bears. Phipps. Peyton dropped the ball right in his hands coming out of the backfield on the coverage. Reggie Mathis. And a disgusted Walter Payton says, how could I not hold on to that perfect strike?
He is frustrated. He has dropped 2 or 3 passes that he could have caught, and that's not like Walter Payton. When the ball is there, he usually always catches it, and Walter just, he can't believe it.
Mike Phipps has now, believe it or not, thrown 10 incompletions in a row.
No kidding. And
you find yourself using the term, he's thrown the incompletions. Really, what's happened on several, they've been dropped. And they unfortunately get chalked up against him as incompletions. Third down, big play, both teams here. Saints have got to stop him to get into this game. Tipped, good defensive play, the third time that the onrushing linemen have been able to get a hand in front of Phipps's passes. I think that was Derlin Moore again. If not Moore, it was Grooms, number 78. But 3 times, the big front 4 of the Saints has done that in critical situations.
That was a very key defensive series for New Orleans. If they could, if Bob Thomas misses this, it'll be very disheartening for the Chicago Bears after Peyton breaking open like that. So this is a very key play because it's a 13-3 game. Now a touchdown and a field goal would tie it for New Orleans.
Lots of time left. Thomas from the 27-yard line is wide to the right. So Thomas misses his from 37 yards out. And the New Orleans Saints stop the Bears despite the 61-yard run by Peyton after their field goal miss.
Now comes Miller time. The flag is dropped, the race is a memory. And now you're coasting into the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you got the time, if you got the time, you got the beer, Miller beer. If you got the time.
No matter where you're going, you can get a low airfare if you know who to call. No matter when you're going, you can get a low airfare if you know who to call. And no matter why you're going, you can get a low airfare if you know who to call.
We're American Airlines.
Well, the New Orleans Saints take over following the missed field goal by Bob Thomas from 37 yards out. The line of scrimmage is at the Saints 21. And they trail by 10 with a long way to go in this football game yet. 7-11 remaining third period. Play action. Manning under pressure just chucks it away. And I tell you, there's nobody near. There is not an eligible receiver near anybody. The Bears want a grounding call, but they're not getting it. Fensick protesting, Hampton protesting.
Let's take a look. See how the officials did on this play. It was a fake screen right. Looks like he couldn't get it off, and the receiver didn't get out there, and there wasn't anybody there. The Bears have a kind of a legitimate complaint, but it goes for naught. No penalty.
2nd and 10. High formation. Split right Chandler, left is Harris. time. Up the middle, complete. Oh, what a hit. What a collision. Doug Plank and Larry Hardy, the big tight end, the 3-year man from Jackson State. Good pass play from Manning to Hardy, and a pop from Plank.
What touch by Archie Manning. He threw this sidearm, and he hit Hardy right in stride, and it was beautiful. And here comes Doug Plank. You come across the middle against the Bears, this is what's going to happen. You want to see a collision? Boy.
Plank was going for that football. He landed right on the ball.
And here's the sidearm. Watch this. This is beautiful. He just kind of throws it out there, leads him across the field. It was perfect.
They're back live, first down from the 40-yard line of the Saints. And Muncie.
A little bit. It's tender. Somebody puts his pinky on a nose, it's going to hurt. And, you know, some guys would be a little shy about that. Look, notice how it's swelled up.
Resurging Detroit Lions leading Green Bay 19-7. Second and 9 here, Saints. He flips one again to the sideline, and it's incomplete, intended for Chandler. Chandler thought he was interfered with by Ellis. Officials saw it otherwise. Look at this, the Colts in front of Baltimore 14-13 in the third period. Burt Jones has a touchdown pass in that game. Muncie has now carried 13 times for 80 yards, and his counterpart Peyton 11 times for 92.
And Archie Manning threw that up again for Chandler, hoping that the offensive receiver, his man, would spot the ball first and then come back and make the catch, and he almost did, but good coverage by Ellis.
Ellis has had an excellent game defensively today for the Chicago Bears. Third down. Saints trying to keep it moving. Woo! Out of the backfield, Galbraith, and good coverage by Chicago there. No gain at all. Linebacker Jerry Muckensturm, number 58, doing his job, picking up the running back. And the Saints will have to punt.
The Bears really put the rush on Archie Manning that time and made him forced to throw in a hurry, and Chicago gets the ball back.
Erxleben standing at the Saints 30. Walterscheid at the Bears 15. Waiting to punt. Good kick. From the 13. Walterscheid, not a bad return, gets out to the 24, and a little puffing around down there. Doug Plank.
Jim Kovach, I think.
Kovach. Yeah, they exchanged a few words and a couple of shots, but no harm done.
The thing is, he was the second man, and he got caught. If Doug Plank did something to begin with, they didn't detect that, and they detected Kovach, and it's going to be a problem for New Orleans because it's against the Saints.
Well, I didn't see the initial contact, but the penalty is going to go against New Orleans, and it makes that return all the way out to the 39.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52, first down.
Jim Kovach.